For the 100% cheapest coins on the internet with reliable delivery and quick customer support, check out my sponsor MMOEXP by clicking the link at the top of the description and use code SWIFT at checkout for 5% off. Salsa family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 21 video on the channel, and in today's video we are going to be going over a fairly glitchy method to get unlimited 98 overall players for free. Now this is going to require a solid amount of coins to get started with, but if you guys have at least 500k, you guys can do this method and make a ton of 98s for free. So let's get into the video, boys. Scroll down and leave a like if you have not yet done so already. It helps out the channel so much. If this video helps you out, that is all I ask you in return, and let's get into the content. So let's get into this video, boys. Here is how this one is going to work. We are going to go into the Team Master sets, and we are going to be completing these 99 overall sets for the same price that the card sells for. So for example, right here, we're going to take a look at the Buccaneer set in this video, and essentially the goal of this method for the Buccaneer set as an example is to complete this set for the exact same amount that Mike Evans costs. We sell off Mike Evans, and when we do the set, not only do we get Mike Evans, but we get the 98 overall back as a nat. So we get that player for free, who we can simply use on our team as an end game left tackle in Paul Gruber. Now this is going to work for almost every single set in here. The only real criteria you need to follow is you want to make sure that the 99 overall is going to sell for the exact same price that it costs to complete the set. Now we're not just going to be buying the players to complete the set. We have some strategies to get some of the 91s and 92s for free, some cheaper methods to get the 98, but all you really want to do is step number one, make sure that the set can be done at the same price that the 99 sells for by following the steps I'll show you later, and you want to make sure that you need the 98 overall in your team. So some of these 98 overall players, they're not going to be that crazy good, but this one right here, for example, Eric Berry, he's a damn good card. As we go on over to this set right here, Lorenzo Neal, that could be your end game fullback that you're getting for free, but some of the other players, I mean, they're really just not going to be that good. As we take a look at the Lions one right here, Chris Spielman, a middle linebacker, you probably don't want that so much, but I have my eye on the Buccaneer set. The numbers work well because Mike Evans sells for a lot, and the left tackle has some really good stats as an endgame 98 overall. So once you've selected your set, this is step number one. You want to go into the store and you want to check the price of the 99 overall. So Mike Evans right here is going to be selling for a price of around 600k. It's going to cost you roughly the same amount to complete each and every set in here, but the prices of these 99s are going to change. So Mike Evans right here, as we take a look at the 99 overall market for this wide receiver card, you will see that he is selling for around 600,000 coins after tax, maybe like 550k after tax for the Mike Evans. So write that down. You need to know that price point. And now that we know that, here are all the players required to go into the set. Now Mike Evans is going to need a 91, a 92, two 95s, and a 98. And let's start it off with the 91 and the 92. I want to show you guys a method to try and get these players basically for free. Now to get these players for free, here's what we are doing. We are going into the team builder set, and as you guys will see, this set right here as well as the 92 are going to be very similar. They require 85 to 86s, 83 to 84s, and 87 to 88 overall players, and we want to try and get these cards for free by using a method that I'm going to show you right here. Okay, so step number two right here is we're going to try and get these cards for free, and here's how we're going to do that. We're going to go into the auction block and we're going to buy some training. So a 95 overall Mud Hero at around 70k is going to give us a solid CPT right now. I'll leave a link in the description to show you guys the cheapest way to get your trading. It looks like these 95 overall Mud Heroes, they are fairly expensive, so I'm going to do some sniping. I'm going to hopefully find one of these 95s up for around 70 to 75k if possible, and I'll see you guys then. So we have our card in Marvin Harrison right here. We're going to quick sell this card for 25,000 training points, and again, whatever the cheapest CPT is, you guys want to go onto the link I showed you guys and buy training at that price point. Now with those training points, we are going into the store and we are opening this pack up 10 times or until you guys have no training left. And the goal of this is essentially what we're going to do is sell off all the players we get from this method until we have paid back for the initial investment. So if we sell back all the players and we're left over with some 83s and 84s, we use those players in the set. If we're left over with some 85 to 86s, some 83 to 84s, and some 88s, we are going to use all those players in the set. So we started off with a 90, and then we get a legend with the lights. These packs are going to be very, very nice. You are going to easily make your training, or sorry, make your coins back every single time. It isn't really going to be that challenging. All you really need is an average of around 6,000 coins per pull, which isn't actually that hard to do, and the prices in the market are actually fairly high for some of the lower overall cards, so it's not going to be all that challenging to make your coins back. Some 87s and a 90 already being pulled, and what I'm going to do is see you guys in my item binder once I've ripped through these packs 10 different times, and we're going to take a look at the prices of the cards to really get into the next step for the method and start to rack up some of these players for free, which we can then use in the set and start to construct some of the 91s and 92 overall players. So here are the 10 players that we're left over with, and the way you guys are going to want to do this when you have your players is you go from lowest to highest, selling off your cards until you get to the point where you've made back your initial coins, and any players that are left left over at that point are then going to be put into the sets. Now, in the situation where you maybe don't have any leftover players and you simply make back your coins, that's fine. You re-roll your training. But as you guys can see, this isn't really the greatest roll. It's not the worst roll either. We started off with Arian Foster for 20k. That's going to be our most expensive card. We didn't get any really good pulls in here. Sometimes you guys are going to get a crazy card who pays for the entire pack opening. We didn't get all that lucky. Next up, we're going to have this Deacon Jones. That's another 8,000 coins right there. We have a couple of 87 overall players. Let's check these cards' prices. We have Rod Woodson, and we're also going to have the other 87. That's another 7.5 for each of these players. So at this point, we should be up to around 43,000 coins. Lance Allworth, Reggie Wayne, and Chris Cooley. Those cards are all up for around 7k as well. So add 43, we get up to 50. Plus we have another 14,000 coins from those players. That's going to take us up to around 64k. Remember, we started at 75. This isn't really the greatest roll. It's not the worst roll either, to be honest with you. Now, Chris Cooley right here is going to bring the total up to around 70k. We have our two 83s, so maybe we're left over with 183 after we sell everything off. Not the greatest roll right here. Let me do it again and show you guys how it should be. If you guys get lucky, this was a fairly unlucky roll. Our best pull is a 90. Majority of the time, you're going to get something better than that. Let me rip these packs, and I'll show you guys exactly what we can do if we get a little bit luckier. So one more 95 overall player. We maybe net ourselves 183 that we can use to get one of these cards for free, but let's do this again and try and get luckier. So yeah, another half decent roll right here. Pick up a couple of 88s. We get a 90. I would say on this second roll right here, we're probably going to be left over with these two 83 overall players for free, or at least for very cheap, maybe for a cost of around like 1 to 2,000 coins, which is really inexpensive for a couple of 83s. Obviously, you have the potential to really do well on this roll, but essentially at this point, we should have been able to net ourselves those cards for cheap. And let's say, for example, that maybe you're spending a little bit on these players. Maybe you're spending like 20k for each of these cards. If you guys get a little bit impatient, maybe you lose on a couple of rolls, you might be spending around 20k per these players. So let's say 40,000 coins for those cards. Now, continuing right along, what else is required to go into the sets? Well, we need two 95 overall players. If you guys wanted to, for the Ryan Suckup set, you guys could use the same method that I showed you guys with your legend rerolls. If you want to do that, you can go into here and hopefully get some of these players for free. That's probably going to be the cheapest way to do this, but let's say you guys have to buy all these players and you have to fork over the coins to do this set. Well, if that's the case, at relatively unfiltered prices right here, when you're buying these 82s at around 2,000 coins, you're buying your 86s at a price of around 5k and the 90s at around 17k if you spend that much. That's going to cost you about 120k to do this set. Similarly for the other 95, which requires Team of the Week players, it's going to be about the exact same cost, maybe like 130 for that set. So let's say you guys spend the 120 and you spend the 130, that's 250k, plus we have that 40k, that is going to bring the total up to 290. Now the final card right here is going to be the Paul Gruber. As you guys can see, right now he is selling for 368k. If we were to buy that card, we would be a little bit over the budget. So what we want to do is actually construct that player. Essentially the goal of this method is we're constructing and using these tactics to get all these players for cheap, and then we do the set and we just break even, but then we get this card right here for free, this 98 overall. So when it comes to this Paul Gruber card, here is essentially what you guys want to do. When it comes to the 85s for the Buccaneers set, we're buying these cards for around 6 to 7k. Let's say we shoot on the higher side of things and we spend 7k per card. As you can see, it's going to be really easy to get the cards for less because there's cards up for 6.3, 6.5, and 6.7, but let's say 70k on the 85 overall players. Next up, we have these 90 overall cards. Maybe you're getting these cards for around 18k. That's probably going to end up netting you about 100k in this set right here on those 90s. And then finally, we have Levante David, who should be up for around 130 right now, 119. Again, another good deal right here, but I had written down 130, so that's going to be 300k to get this Paul Gruber. Now we add all those numbers up, and that is 590k. Remember, Mike Evans, you guys, was selling for 650, so we're essentially making all those coins back when we sell back Mike Evans. And you guys could even do this set right here for cheaper. As we take a look at the players, you saw we could do that Paul Gruber set for less. We could probably get that set done for 280, maybe a little bit of sniping. We shave off like 10 to 20k off the other ones, and that is how you guys can get these 98 overall players for free, you guys. This is a pretty wild method. I will definitely be doing this with the Mike Evans. If you guys wanted to, you could even just buy your Bradley Pinion and buy your OJ Howard, and then you would be getting this card for like 100k, which isn't even that much for a 98. As we go through these sets, there is opportunities to do this in a lot of different places. You really want to try and find a 99 that's fairly expensive. So as you go through these, try and look for a 99 that's fairly wanted, and then you can kind of work backwards. So Jalen Ramsey right here, if we wanted this DeMarco Farr, we would be able to get this card for really cheap because we know Jalen Ramsey is super expensive right now. But another thing to note, if you actually decide to go for a cheaper 99 because you like the 98, usually it's going to be cheaper to actually complete the 98 overall set originally, because the players that you need to go in that are on that team specific are going to be a little less expensive. So that's what I wanted to show you guys in today's video, man. Definitely something that is worth a check and worth trying out. Try and run these numbers. Step number 1, you find the set that you want to do. Step number 2, you find how much the 99 overall is going for, and then we start working backward. We try out that legend method, you try and roll that to potentially get some of the players for free that you can put into the sets, and then if you're able to do that, hopefully you're only spending like 40 to 50k on those lower overall cards. You really want to be able to get a solid chunk of those players for free in order to get those players for a combined price of 40 to 50k. These cards aren't really selling for that much in the first place, really just around 40 to 50k per card, so you're saving a fair bit there. Next up, we do the set for those two players if it is cheaper. Sometimes these cards will be really inexpensive. As we take a look at the Broncos one right here, I'm assuming that one of these cards might be a little bit inexpensive. Let's take a look at Josie Jewell. As you guys can see, he's up for 122, so it might be better to just buy that card right there. Sometimes worth a check for these 95 overall players. And then finally, for your big boy 98, majority of the time what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do the set. A lot of the sets for these like less wanted players, the 85s are going to be really cheap. The 90s especially, they're going to be really cheap as well. So it's worth running the numbers on a lot of these sets, and it's going to be much easier to get these players that are required to go into the set. So hopefully this video did help you out. Definitely worth a shot at getting some of these 98 overall players for free. If you get a little bit more lucky than I did with the legend rolls, you're going to be doing a lot better job on the 91 to 92s. The legend rolls are literally a coin making method, so it's a little bit unfortunate that we got unlucky in the video, but I'm sure you guys will be lucky if you try it. That's going to do it for me. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.
So,